Welcome to our study this hour. My name is Mr. Akila, a teacher of biology. Today's topic is nutrition, and we shall focus on photosynthesis. So we shall start by defining the word nutrition. Nutrition is a process by which organisms obtain and utilize nutrients. They acquire and use the nutrients. There are two modes of nutrition, that is autotrophism and heterotrophism. Autotrophism comes from the word automatic. This is where organisms make their own food using simple substances from the environment, for instance, water and carbon dioxide. And the organisms which exhibit that type of nutrition are known as autotrophs. A good examples of autotrophs are plants, because they make their own food. On the other hand, heterotrophism is a mode of nutrition where organisms feed on already made food. For instance, animals are a good example of heterotrophs because they feed on food that has been made by plants. Fine. Let's come back to autotrophism, where organisms manufacture their own food. There are two types of autotrophism. We have chemosynthesis and photosynthesis. Chemosynthesis is where organisms manufacture their own food using energy derived from chemical reactions, while photosynthesis is a process by which organisms manufacture their own food using light energy, that is, sunlight. Photosynthesis occurs in the leaf, the organ that is in the leaf of most plants. In the leaf of plants. And some bacteria and members of kingdom Protoctista like Euglena also carry out photosynthesis. But in most cases, and what is so common, is plants. In the leaves of plants, we have cells which photosynthesize. These are the cells which have chloroplast. Chloroplast is an organelle where photosynthesis occurs. That is a site of photosynthesis. What is an organelle? It's a structure within a cell. So like other organelles like lysosome, mitochondria, so chloroplast is one of them. So in the chloroplast, it has many other structures, starch granules, but I want to focus on two main parts. The two main parts are stroma and granum, or plural grana. The two parts are common, or they're very essential, because this is the exact places in the organelle chloroplast where photosynthesis occurs. For instance, photosynthesis occurs in two stages. It's a complex process though, but it occurs in two stages. Stage one is called light reaction, or light dependent stage, the stage that depends on light. Stage two is called light independent stage. It's a stage that does not depend on light or dark reaction. Coming back to light stage, it occurs in the granum of the chloroplast. And in the light reaction stage, or light dependent stage, a stage that depends on light, two processes are involved. Two processes. One is photolysis, and two, ATP production. What is photolysis? It is simply the splitting of water molecules into hydrogen atoms and oxygen gas. So water is split into hydrogen atoms and oxygen gas. That is what we mean by photolysis. The oxygen gas, part of it is utilized by this plant for another process, that is respiration. And some of it is also released to the environment as a byproduct. So simply oxygen is released, so it will no longer take part in the subsequent processes of photosynthesis. So what is remaining is hydrogen atoms. So the hydrogen atoms will proceed to the next phase or stage, that is that reaction. Okay, where is this water being split coming from? Remember, water is one of the raw materials for photosynthesis, which is absorbed by the plant roots, taken up through the phloem, through the vascular bundle, that is the phloem and xylem. But water is taken up through the xylem of the roots, through the xylem of the stem, to the xylem of the leaves, that is along the veins of plant. And then now, in the presence of light, is split into hydrogen atoms and oxygen gas. Okay. Now, another thing, the energy from the sun again is converted into ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. What is ATP? It's simply an energy-rich molecule. I can compare it to a battery. A battery stores energy, so it's a storage form of energy. ATP is an energy-rich molecule. That ATP is also very important, and it will proceed to the dark reaction. Fine. So two processes occurs in light stage. So that is photolysis and ATP production. Fine. And it occurs in the grana of the chloroplast. That is the organelle, in the organelle chloroplast. Okay. That reaction occurs in the chloroplast in a part called the stroma, the fluid-filled medium, stroma. In that reaction, there is only one process that occurs. The process is called carbon 4-oxide fixation. Remember, there are two main raw materials for photosynthesis, that is water and carbon 4-oxide. And these are the conditions, that is light. The conditions, that is light and chlorophyll. Otherwise, the raw materials, we have water and carbon 4-oxide. So in that stage, on that reaction, carbon 4-oxide fixation is where carbon 4-oxide combines with hydrogen atoms, where hydrogen atoms from light reaction combines to form simple food substances. What do I mean? What do I mean by simple food substances? For instance, glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, and glycerol. That is where, when they combine later, the complex food substance can be formed. That is, carbohydrates can be formed out of glucose, proteins out of amino acids, because those are their building blocks, and lipids out of fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, so simply the process of photosynthesis produces the building blocks of most of the food substances. And what is photosynthesis? A process by which the organisms manufacture their own food from simple substances from the environment. Simple substances, water, a simple substance which is freely available. Carbon 4-oxide, we have a lot of it in the atmosphere. But through this complex process, whether they are food substances, because through condensation process, out of the glucose can get carbohydrates. Through condensation process, out of the amino acids, we have proteins. out of condensation process, fatty acids and glycerol can produce lipids, which are now stored in plant tissues. No wonder we can obtain a leaf that has been exposed to light. We can be able to taste the food substance in that leaf, and you find that it has starch because photosynthesis has occurred. Okay, so to recap, is that nutrition is a process by which organisms obtain or acquire and use or utilize new nutrients. You have two modes: autotrophism and heterotrophism. Autotrophism is where organisms manufacture their own food. Good example, autotrophs are plants. Heterotrophism is where organisms feed on already made food. So animals will always obtain food from plants which they have manufactured. Types of autotrophism: we have chemosynthesis and photosynthesis. Chemosynthesis, where organisms manufacture their own food using chemicals or using energy derived from chemical reactions. Photosynthesis occurs in the leaves of plants and in the cells that contain chloroplast. Chloroplast is an organelle, which is a site for photosynthesis. In the organelle, you have two main parts: granum and stroma. In the grana, light reaction occurs. In the stroma, dark reaction occurs. In the light reaction, two processes occur: photolysis, that's the splitting of water molecules into hydrogen atoms and oxygen gas, and ATP production, that is the production of energy that is adenosine triphosphate. Two substances leave light reaction to be used in the dark reaction, that is hydrogen atoms and ATP, that energy. Remember, we do not have light in that stage, so the energy, if stored in form of ATP, is going to be used in the dark reaction. Okay, so thank you. We shall consider factors affecting photosynthesis in our next discussion. Otherwise, thank you for your time. Bye bye.